Listen to your intuition. Ooh, that round a little bit. Buy after school. We love after school over here, bro. We love after school. I say I love after school. I'm not even subscribed to after school. Let me subscribe to after school. Man, we love after school over here, man. Great videos, man. Great videos. I'm already liking the video, bro. Let's get into the video, bro. Let's get into the video.
Now, in the psychology world, we call gut reactions somatic markers. That's the technical term for it. And this is any time where your emotions really guide or bias your decision making. And this is happening all the time. I think a lot of people try to make reasonable decisions by pushing emotions aside. Instead of using emotions, they rely on logic and they try to think through things rationally. But the argument that I'm going to make in this series is that there's no such thing as pure rational thought. Emotions are always there to help guide us to our everyday decision-making process.
And this is, bro, this is so backwards compared to how this is backwards compared to how we are taught today. Nowadays, we are taught, man, disregard your emotions, disregard how you feel. If you don't feel like doing it, man, disregard that. You need to constantly grind. You need to grind. You need to disregard how you feel. Man, it don't matter how you feel, man. Just do it. And although there are certain situations that call for you to just do it, that is programming at its finest. When they tell us, man, disregard your feelings, disregard how you feel, you need to just go, you need to just do it. That's the quickest way people end up burning out. And you see, when people burn out and they still have this mindset of, oh, I need to do it regardless, I need to just do it, then they start using substitutes to run off fumes. You see what I'm saying? And that's the quickest way that you become way unhealthy. You see what I'm saying? That's the quickest way to burnout, when you can easily use your emotions as the guide. When you use your emotions as the guide, they usually 9 times out of 10 are the ones that are gonna get you to your desire, whatever. It's gonna get you to where you need to be quicker than as if you're saying, oh, I need to disregard how I feel, or disregard how I need to just do it. I need to just do it. I seen this video on TikTok. It was like a two people building a ladder, or a ladder was being made, right? And one side said perfection, one side said consistency. Perfection, to me, perfection looks like you listening to your emotions. You're always going to get the best results when you listen to your emotions, when you go off of your intuition, the intuition based. Yeah, I mean, when you feel the best, when you are feeling the best, when you are the best, you get the best results. That is perfection. Consistency is, I don't care how I feel, I'm gonna do it regardless. I don't care how I feel, I'm gonna just do it. I just gotta do it, do it every day. It don't matter how I feel, I need to just do it. Now, although consistency does come with a sense of self-governance, self-trust, it also makes you, when you disregard your emotions, you disregard how you feel, it takes away from that right pillar of the mind, that spiritual mental aspect of yourself, that strengthens your intuition, that's where your intuition lies, basically. But in the video, it was basically showing how the perfect ladder has, perfect stepping stones, perfect, yeah, I mean. But with the consistent ladder, it didn't matter how the ladder was being made. It was mistakes being made. It was like this, like this. But who ended up getting there first? The consistent person. You see what I'm saying? The person that was doing it perfect, they end up getting there, but a little later than the person who was disregarding their emotions, again disregarding how they feel. They ended up getting there, but now it's all these complications. Now their ladder is rickety, and is you know what I'm saying, is broken and all this stuff. You see this all the time with people in any industry, right? Let's say people in the music industry. Usually those people who cut corners, they take routes, and they do all types of, weird stuff. You see those people, they end up making it quicker, but now they got all these complications that they were not ready for, and then they end up falling off just as fast as they got there. Versus a person who listen to their emotions, they take their time, they're listening to how they feel, they're going for perfection every time. You get what I'm trying to say? And it's not perfection. When I say perfection, it's not perfection in a performative manner. It's not perfection in a way that people are gonna say it's perfection. It's perfection in how you feel. Again, the emotional path, the you get what I'm trying to say? It's how you feel. Do you feel that the work that you put out is good? Do you feel that the work that you put out is perfect. If not, then you're just gonna be running off fumes, and eventually you're gonna get to where you want to get to. Regardless, if you're walking the walk, then you're gonna get there where you need to get. But 9 times out of 10, bro, it's not gonna hit the same as if you were taking the more slower route. You know what I'm saying? Building the house on concrete, other than building the house on sand. You get what I'm trying to say?
Here's an example. If I asked you how your day was, what would you say? Now, for most of you, you have an immediate response to this. My day was good. It's been okay. Actually, today was not that great of a day. But what you did not do was go through every single moment of your day, the entire day, weighing each and every moment precisely and taking an average of how much you liked or disliked the things that happened since you got out of bed. We just don't do that. If you had to go through that process every time somebody asked you how your day was, it would take you 3 days to respond to that question. We simply can't use pure logic to respond. We have to use a gut decision, a gut reaction to that question. Because if we relied only on logic, it would take forever. So the hypothesis here with somatic markers is that pure logic takes too long. And so emotions help make shortcuts to decision making. And these emotional or mental shortcuts are called somatic markers, and more commonly in day-to-day use, we call them gut feelings or intuitions. Now, I think this is a really amazing finding in emotion psychology because there have been scientists who studied the human brain. Where are somatic markers stored? And it turns out a lot of people believe that somatic markers are stored in the ventromedial prefrontal cortex, which is this really interesting region at the bottom front base of the brain near the orbital frontal cortex, where we've talked about before, contains a lot of information about how we perceive emotion. Now, I want to tell you about one research project that really blew my mind, and it was how does decision-making change when the ventromedial prefrontal cortex is either healthy or damaged? And remember, the ventromedial prefrontal cortex is where we think our somatic markers or gut instincts are stored. So what these scientists did was they put together an experiment where participants sat down in front of 4 piles of cards. Card pile A, card pile B, card pile C, card pile D. And all they were told to do was draw the cards from these 4 piles. Now, sometimes when they drew a card, they would win some money. Sounds great. But sometimes when they would draw a card, they would lose some money. Not so good. What the participants didn't know, however, was that some of the decks were rigged so that they would win more money over time. Other decks were rigged so that they would lose more money over time. So for example, maybe decks A and B were the good decks, decks C and D were the bad decks, but really it was tough to determine from the first few draws which decks were good and which decks were bad. Now, participants who have normal brains, who didn't have damage to their ventromedial prefrontal cortexes, they started drawing from the decks that had the good outcomes. They started to realize maybe after about 30 turns or so that some of these decks were rigged to be good, so they drew more cards from those decks. Patients who had ventromedial prefrontal cortex damage didn't have the best decision-making process, and they drew from each of the piles equally and ended up losing money over time. But now here's the kicker. Throughout this entire process of drawing cards from these 4 decks, the scientists measured how sweaty the participants' palms were getting, because skin sweat is related to anxiety. And they hypothesized that maybe our body would know which deck was the good deck and which deck was the bad deck before our brains caught up to it. Turns out they were right, because participants who had no damage to their ventromedial prefrontal cortex, after only 10 draws, after only drawing 10 cards from these decks, started to have a little bit of sweat on their palm before they decided to draw from the bad decks. They were having anticipatory anxiety about drawing from those bad decks. And the amazing part is, they did not consciously know at that time that those decks were bad decks. So the body knew before the mind caught up that some of those decks were good for you and some of the decks were bad for you. So I think this is really amazing evidence that our body is trying to help us to respond to fundamental life decisions that are sometimes difficult.
For more interesting videos like this one, please subscribe.
No, that was a good video. See, now that was a way that the way that they explained it was more scientifically based. I'm not versed in the scientifics. I'm gonna keep it a beam, but that just comes to show you that intuition is can be explained scientifically as well. So it's not just woo woo, but it's a genuine thing that everybody can obtain.